There's a place where we can go tonight. The rhythm will make it right, where everyone is happy and the sun will shine all night.
So, we are all millennials here, and we all have come of age with social media. We had MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, etc., available to us for almost half of our lives. Do we think social media has been a help or a hindrance to society?
I'll start that off. I'm going to say a hindrance. Even though it connects us to people who aren't necessarily in our immediate vicinity, I feel like the instant gratification of using social media, being able to connect with that person almost immediately, takes away from the social cues that we could be having and we probably need when we're actually face to face.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people that I have walked up to and they're just in their phone.
Right.
Hi. Like, hello, are you still there? But we don't kind of get away from it. And it's also a hindrance in the fact that I can look at my screen time and see how many times I've picked up the damn phone, how many times I've looked at a certain website, how many times I've gone on social media,
Right.
the amount of times that I spend just aimlessly scrolling through things because I'm bored on a call with somebody who I probably shouldn't say that. But it's there. So you're just kind of aimlessly doing things and you really don't realize how much time you're spending doing absolutely nothing.
Right. See, I guess for me, like, it's different because if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have found any of my siblings. I wouldn't have met Shantara. So for me, it's like, for the viewers who don't know my story, I guess it's not the time to spill the tea. So, as we all know, my father wasn't around. He actually left my mom when she was pregnant, and didn't know him, didn't know of him, anything like that, whatever. And my mom had told me when I was a kid, she's like, "You have other siblings. These are their names, blah 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 blah." So in 2006, I went on MySpace because my brother has a very very unique name, especially for a guy. And I found him. And it just so happened that our sister was running his MySpace page, whatever. So that's how I got in touch with them. They got me in touch with my other sister, who actually, I went to go meet her, Sabrina. I actually met her for the first time when I was, the day before my 16th birthday. And everybody who knows me personally knows that Sabrina is like, a huge, huge component in my life. And if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have her. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have Shantara. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have, my brother Jeremy, who I'm also now very, very close with. I do agree with you on certain points, Brittany, that I do feel like social media can be detrimental. I do feel like people are dehumanized to others, if that makes sense. You go on YouTube, you see people talking about, "You're a bitch, I'm gonna fuck you up, you're this, you're that, you're ugly," and so on and so forth, whatever. I've actually had people come on my YouTube videos and say stuff like that to me, and I'm like, and I've commented back, I'm like, you would have said it to my face in real life.
Right.
Because you get your ass whooped. Like, I'm not saying I'm Mike Tyson or something like that, whatever. But I'll get you in the fucking hand. Stop playing with me. And it's like I see people on Twitter, when they cancel people or drag people, whatever, they go where you shouldn't go, and they take it to a level where it shouldn't be taken to, and then it's like, what's your problem? But at the same time, I feel like people at the same time kind of invite that on sometimes when they're sitting there saying incendiary things on Facebook or Twitter, so on and so forth, whatever, and they're saying it for the attention. When they get the attention that they don't like, whatever, suddenly it's a problem, suddenly it's toxic. So for me, it's just like, doing mine, because I've seen so many people try to be Instagram hoes and TikTok hoes and Twitter hoes and Twitter thugs and all sorts of stuff, whatever. And it's like, I don't think it's social media. I think it's the person in and of himself. Because if you're secure in yourself, you're with it, you're together, so on and so forth, whatever, then it doesn't matter what social media you're using or how often you're using it, whatever, because you know at the end of the day who you are. You're not doing this for clicks and likes and so on and so forth.
I was just about to ask, like, because if you really think about it, social media, the internet, everything is still in its infancy.
Right.
Like, the way, there's so much about the way we live today that's so new to humans as a whole. And so I was going to ask, like, how do you think we should even be doing social media? Like, the metrics of, like, there are people, I know for myself, I spend way too much time looking at my phone. I don't even do shit on it. But I just be opening up the apps just to check. No notifications.
Right.
Damn, okay.
I check my phone.
Child, let me tell you. Well, I check my YouTube a lot now because I need to, my Instagram, because I for my channel.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I use my phone. Brittany knows this. I use my phone. And I'm usually looking at. I will watch a movie on my fucking TV, and I'll be fucking Wikipediaing the movie as I'm watching it. If it's historical to get context, things like that. So like, for me, that's what I use my phone a lot to get information, which is how I feel like social media should be used, because it's supposed to make the world smaller.
Right.
But I feel like we get too much information. Not too much. Something like this summer was tough for me as far as social media, the news, like everything that was going on. Like it was really tough for me. I literally had to take a break. I just couldn't take any more information. I just couldn't. No matter what it was, I just didn't want to see anything. And it kind of took me to a dark place. I'd never been there before, but I do feel like I've also been able to appreciate more because of everything that I did see. So, I mean, I don't know, but I'm kind of on the fence with this one.
Me too. Like, like, for instance, like, you guys know this summer I had that assault situation happen, whatever, and I told my Facebook friends about it, whatever, because, just to get it out. And for me, saying it that way made it less personal. And so I could be transparent, like, because everybody knows I've struggled with depression, so on and so forth, whatever. And I've put that out there on my Facebook. Granted, people on my Facebook obviously know me. My Facebook is private, so you're not going to sit there and get blast shit every fucking where. But it's made it easier for me to communicate to people because I don't have to face you and say these things to you that make me uncomfortable.
Good point. But then there's, like, people on the other side, a.k.a. me. Like, I'm not telling y'all shit about me.
Thank you, Elise.
Y'all don't need to know shit about what's going on in my life, about what I went through. Sometimes, like, I'm trying to make an effort to be a little bit more transparent, so I have a blog instead.
Right.
I won't put it out. Like, if you want to know what's going on in my life, either ask me directly or check out my blog, and even then, like, it's limited,
Right.
as far as, like, what I put up there. I don't have a lot up there. It's like, I don't like people know, like, you don't know me. Like, don't act like you know me.
Right.
Based off of social media, and I don't really put that type of stuff out there because I do recognize that social media is a completely different space. I am who I am on all platforms,
right,
and in real life, but also I understand the dangerous nature of, like, just being able to post something that's so personal, someone seeing it and you're not responding or I don't know. I there's, like, a certain vulnerability that, like, putting that information online, just, I don't trust everyone with that kind of.
That's fair. That's fair. I think for me is, like, for me, like, especially, depression, whatever, that was, because again, like, for a long time, I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't quantify it. And so when I put it on my Facebook, whatever, this is what, in 2014, whatever, I had people tell me, oh, I've been through this, so for me, it's like, I got support, and I got people that understood, you know what I mean? For instance, like, me and Brittany, we talk almost every day, or we text almost every day, whatever. And there are certain things in my life that she can't possibly understand because she hasn't been through it. But other people I've talked to on Facebook, or, even when I did my depression vlog on YouTube, whatever, Shantira, you saw it, whatever, you get to reach people, you get to talk to people, you get to learn. Because, like, for me, my big thing in life, I just want to teach people. I want to help people. That's what I want to do. And sometimes you have to use yourself as an example to get people through. Now, granted, sometimes the reception isn't what I want it to be, but still, you're learning something from me, which is my hope, which is why I don't mind doing that to a certain extent.
Yeah, I just feel like that takes a lot of courage.
It does a lot. Definitely does. When people know your vulnerability and you know that there are people out there who will try to, like, or know your
vulnerable moments or situations in life. Like sometimes people try to use that against you, and it piss me off.
Yeah, I don't want people to know I had a cold. You know what I mean? Shit.
That's fair.
Y'all can look at my social media. My posts are about a dog.
It really
The
is.
last post that I had was on my birthday. I do an annual post,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, like, yeah, because honestly, that's true. It was like Brittany on birthdays, like on my birthday and Brittany's birthday, we usually post about each other or whatever. And then, like, you know, but it's crazy because Brittany will sit there and text me something she saw on social media, whatever, but she won't say anything about it publicly. Or she'll call me and it's
I'm
like,
a
did you?
private, introverted person who doesn't care for the opinions of people that I didn't ask for them about.
This
So, like, if I
go-
send it to you, I value your opinion and want to actually hear from you.
This girl, she's like, did you see this? This made me so fucking angry. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm like, okay, why would you tell the poster that how you feel about it? But yeah,
I
I
definitely
think I'm
see
the
where-
same way though. I think I do the same thing with like my siblings. I'll see something and I'll send it to them, and I won't say anything under the post.
Same, kind of. I don't do that too often. Not too often. It has to be something that really like pisses me off.
Yeah.
like typically the only things I send to Brittany about social media is when somebody's getting canceled or dragged. Or the Lovely Tea video that comes with somebody being canceled or dragged.
I will say that for the most part, though, I just try to send funny shit to my friends and my family. And even like if you look, okay, I think my Facebook is more political than anything else.
Ooh,
I will
girl.
post like political shit on my Instagram. Mostly Black Lives Matter, blah blah blah. Everyone on my Instagram agrees with that. My Facebook,
Oh, girl.
have you guys seen the conversations?
Girl.
Michael, Brittany, have you guys seen any of the conversations on my posts on Facebook?
Girl,
Sometimes.
let me tell you,
Your
like,
post about the biblical stuff and the guy who
He was dressed
He didn't
in,
know
in
he-
skirts.
let me
Yeah.
tell you, like, my heart races looking at Sylvia's stuff sometimes. I'm like, yo, I can't even. Like,
It's so like I will post. Facebook is where my friends from church are, because that's when I got Facebook. Is when I
Gotcha.
was in high school, still going to like youth services, church every Sunday. We were at church 4 or 5 days a week growing up, and so that was the bulk of my friends when I first got on social media. I mean, I was on MySpace, but I hardly remember those days.
I miss MySpace.
Low key, but Facebook has stood the test of time, and most of my friends are church friends. And so, you know, I've grown into a different person. I have a different understanding of the world than I did back then. I am now an out gay woman. Everything has changed, right?
Right.
right.
And I like to challenge people's thinking, I guess. So, I mean, you don't have to respond or interact with anything I post. You know, that's completely up to, you know, just like you guys said, sometimes you see shit, you send it to someone else, you don't say nothing to the person who posted it. I've posted things like, what they're mentioning is a guy, he's a husband and father of I don't know how many years, but for the last few years, he's been wearing a skirt and heels everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Just because he likes to and he wants to and his wife is fine with it. And there was one individual in particular who commented that, like, as a man of God, he can't agree with this or
Child.
whatever. People came for him.
If I can just say this real quick about that.
Rightfully so.
If I can say this right quick, 'cause honestly, that's the one thing that pissed me off. Like, oh, as a man of God, you can't wear a skirt. I'm like, what the fuck do you think Jesus wore?
Right.
He wasn't wearing pants. And somebody's like, oh, he wore a robe. I'm like, that's a distinction without a difference. Stop playing with me.
And the sandal he had
Right.
on might have had a heel on it too.
Okay, shit. If your shit can blow in the wind and it blows loosely off you as you're wearing a fucking dress, I don't give a fuck what the fuck you want to call it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And so,
stop.
like, I post those types of things, but I don't post things that are necessarily about me. Like, I'll post shit after the fact. Like, if I've gone on a trip, I'll
Right.
post it after I'm back. And people are like, where are you? And I'm like, well, I'm home.
Where are you? But like,
Right.
but for well, honestly, when it comes to politics and social media, that shit gets really like, Oh my God, like, I've lost so many friends. When I came out as a Bernie bro, they're like, "Oh, you're fucking stupid. Oh, you're a communist." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, cool, great." I didn't like Hillary Clinton. I made that clear. I didn't like Joe Biden. Made that clear. Didn't like Donald Trump. Made that clear. I lost so many friends between that and saying Black Lives Matter. It's not even fucking funny. I'm like, is it really that serious for you?
It's been beautiful and divisive, especially in this last year. Like you were saying, Shatara, like it was really dark over the summer.
It really was.
It's been a while since I've experienced that kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Because it wasn't just me. It was different because it felt like the whole world was going through with the outbreak of this pandemic and everything. So it was like, this is it. This is I Am Legend.
You can help but watch.
Right.
Yeah, it was scary. It was a scary summer, man.
I'm not gonna lie. At some point, I expected like the COVID victims to just kind of wake up and become zombies. You know what I mean? Like
right.
That's just where I was.
But I must say, social media, like in that respect, that was a blessing because you got to see people for who they really were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I didn't have that many fallouts over, but I also don't have. I have a few friends that are of Caucasian
persuasion.
I only have a few. Like I said, I went to high school. It was predominantly Black and Cambodian, and Hispanic. I didn't really have much interaction with any white people until I started working, and it was at the hotel. And even at the hotel, a lot of the white people that I knew, I actually got along with. Even the one guy whose political views were different than mine, we actually got along very well. But I'm not going to keep my opinion to myself.
But like
I don't have that much experience with white folks, so I don't really. I didn't have that many fallouts on Facebook.
Well, like actually, because actually me and Brittany had the same fallout with the same person on Facebook, and you know exactly what I want to talk about, Brittany. It was about Breonna Taylor, and he made a comment about it. She wasn't hanging out with drug dealers, blah blah blah. This wouldn't have happened, etc. 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 And you know, I was going through it with him, whatever. Because I remember I made a video about Black Lives Matter and why it matters and stats, so on and so forth. And he's like, "Oh well, what about black on black crime? What about this and what about that?" And I'm like, "Dude, you are a white man from Europe. What the fuck do you know about Black American struggles?"
Right.
What white Americans told him.
But he wouldn't let it go. And I remember Brittany, she sent me this post, whatever. This is how I found about it. I remember I just
told you to light his ass up, which you rightfully did.
Yes, I did. I'm her attack dog too. So like, and I was just like, you know, like this is showing me what you are. I remember like other person, you know, Candace Owens. She's like, oh, George Floyd came out. And she's like, well, Candace Owens said this, so I'm like, no, bitch, we can't be friends anymore. Goodbye. Like, it was such a blessing to see people for what they really were. You can see all the racists, you know, you can see the people, the Karens. Like, it has been an eye-opener. So on that level, I do feel like social media has been a help because you get to weed out the undesirables and they can be canceled. And people hate that term cancel culture, but I call it accountability. You say some foul shit about somebody or to somebody, whatever, you deserve to have your privileges taken from you for a while so you know what it's like to actually be that person.
Right.
Thank you to my wonderful co-host for joining me on this discussion, and thank you for listening. Join us in the comments to keep the discussion going. If you have any questions you'd like the host to answer or ask Justin for a next topic, please put it down in the comment section. Let's keep talking.